So G-type, this week is the midpoint. So we have 7 weeks done. This week is the middle week, and after that we have 7 more weeks. So kind of halfway. We made so much progress over this week that I had to both speed up the recording here on the right-hand side and chop some of the stuff out of the middle so I could show a little bit of what was going on. So I wasn't surprised that it went that way. I could feel the momentum building, and it did. So here we go for this week. We're up to 29 GitHub contributors, so +4, that's a giant jump. 19 with Twitter handles. I think if we get 2 more Twitter handles, I'm going to have to do 2 follow-up tweets to get all of the handles in there, because I think there's going to be more than 250 characters worth of Twitter handles alone. We're 29 on Trello. We're flat on Slack channel, and 71 commits just this week to the game. So it was amazing. Lessons learned this week: commit your work in progress. If your work is in progress and it doesn't break the build, commit it. It enables collaboration so that if you're asking questions, hey, this doesn't seem to be working the way I want, it's a lot easier if you can look at the code and see how it's behaving to offer suggestions. It also protects against loss, so that if something were to happen on your end, your work won't have been lost because all the rest of us have copies. So commit work in progress. Art this week, Kirby, I got her speed up UI icons in the game. You can see them animating now. She also gave us a temporary UI for the Force as we work on that. I don't know if you can see over here, but she gave us that purple version of the game text that we're using to create a little bit of gameplay on the credits screen, and actually also on the end game screen. Mark gave us the cargo boss, so we're working on some of the AI to make him challenging instead of easy. And Jeff gave us that really great alien planet sprite to replace the abomination that I had put in there as a temp fix. And Jamie, the Ragnarok capsule is in there now. It's in the game, and it works now, so it's awesome. Next week, I've got flying enemy 3, ground enemy 2 listed here, but on the right-hand side, enemies. We need lots and lots of enemies. So if you have any idea for something small, something big, just something that can move around and give the player trouble, let's go for it. And we need some floating enemy platforms, and we need to be thinking about the planetary surface, the environmental sprites for that, and we also need to be thinking about the headquarters. So all of the visuals that we have right now are really for level 1. We need to be thinking about levels 2 and 3 as we move on. So that's art for this week. Audio, lots of music this week. And not a lot of sound effects, but a lot of music. Koi Composition finished up her level 1 music. Right now I'm using that as the title music, but it's a minute and a half of music, so the title's not the right place for that because I want for everybody to get to hear it because it's great. Stebbs was working on some music, ended up being good boss music, so we're using that for the cargo boss to go with Mark's cargo boss there. And Chris Markle was doing something similar, and he ended up with mini boss music. So that's tied to the mini boss that I incorporated last week, but isn't in the game right now. For next week, title screen menu music. I think Koi Composition is working on that still. Looking for some game over music, maybe something for level 3. Vignesh gave us a song that we lost somehow on the way through. He said he'll re-upload that, so that'll work out real well for us. For special effects, we still need something to indicate when the player is moving around in the menus and the UI selection. Something to pick up the capsule. Right now, I think we're using the pause sound for the placeholder for that. We need a sound effect for clear all enemies on screen. Right now, that visually it works, but we don't have any audio for it. And then something to indicate the player's shields failed, some audio version of that. So that's audio for this week. For code, Krister gave us the endgame text. You can see it scrolling there next to his name. Also improved the capsule drop timing. It used to be that the capsules from a group of enemies being destroyed wouldn't drop until the last enemy's death animation completed. Change that up so now it appears right away. It makes more sense. It's more visually appealing. Michelle got the ghost ship explosion animation in there. It runs really fast right now, so I couldn't figure out how to slow it down real quickly today so that you could see it better, but it's in there and it works and it's great. Ryan finished up the visual level editor using Tiled, so it's ready to go. Been working on it, been able to do some good editing, still working on the export piece, so a little detail there, but other than that, it's working great. Also got the title screen updated. You can see a visual of that there. And the screen shake. There was a bit of bug in there that I couldn't figure out. He nailed it for me, so that was great. And some stuff for the bosses. Oh, and Randy gave us some updates to the cutscene text so we can get the whole story in there, so that'll work better. And also adjusted it so that when you go to the credit screen, the credits scroll behind the frame instead of over the top of it. So that looks a lot better. Next week, we're going to be looking at planetary approach boss behavior, give it some AI so it doesn't just sit there and take shots from you. Implement clear all enemies from screen. Actually, I just did that, didn't get it updated, so that code is done, but the special effects are not. And then continue design and development of the Force. Okay, for design, we got the beat the game layout. Krister got that in there for us. Really need to start thinking about that game trailer. So we need to start thinking about, okay, well, what are the assets we need for that, and kind of how are the storyboard it? You know, we want to show this, then we want to show this, then we want to show this, and that's going to be our 60 seconds, something along those lines. Other than that, still need to work through the cutscenes between levels. For marketing, a little bit slower on the marketing this week, but that's fine. We're kind of in the middle. You know, things tend to reach a little bit of a lull. Certainly, if you read anything about people's Kickstarter campaigns, they hit the doldrums in the center. So we're doing fine. We're going to have to work hard to meet that 12,000 we got a couple weeks ago, but we'll shoot for it. One thing we did make a lot of progress on, and I'm not sure, maybe Chris, you can tell us a little bit about why this is, but the video views made a huge jump this week. 271 for the one that's only been out for a few days, and even the pitch video got 50 views this week, and it hadn't gotten 50 since probably the second week it was out. So don't know. A lot of progress there. Otherwise, doing all right. A quick demo. So there's the Ragnarok capsule. So destroys everybody. There's a lot of enemies in this line. There's the capsule appearing immediately. We got some good special effects when you pick it up. See if I can speed up and still make it through the level here. Probably not. So all of this change from what we had for almost since the beginning of development is all as a result of the level editor that Ryan was able to do. So he was able to quickly put together all these different paths for these different enemies, get them added in there in different ways. So I don't think I'm going to make it to the end of the level today. But so lots of really neat ideas available, and being able to edit the levels visually is tremendously helpful. I'm not sure I'm going to get through the boss here now. Anyway, so there we go. And then the Trello. So here we are, week 7. I moved all of the enemy artwork and code up to the top of this week to try and emphasize it a little bit. We do need lots of enemies. I've only got a couple listed here because I didn't want to flood the Trello with it, but there's certainly room. If you have an idea for anything, we'll take it, because the variety we can get for enemies would be great. And then got a little more game UI to add in here, an idea for how to make the Force visual look. Here's the platforms that the enemies sit on in Gradius as kind of an idea for something to do for that piece. And then working on other levels, a little bit of music, some design, lots of code options here. So there we go. That is G-Type for this week.
And also, welcome Keith. I see our guest speakers popped in between updates. All right, so then now over to Terrence for Chop Chop, Chop Chop.